Youcat. Question number 97. Are the Jews guilty of Jesus' death? No one can assign collective guilt for the death of Jesus to the Jews. Instead, the Church professes with certainty that all sinners share in the guilt for Jesus' death. The aged prophet Simeon foresaw that Jesus would become a sign that is spoken against. Luke chapter 2 verse 34 says. And in fact, Jesus was resolutely rejected by the Jewish authorities. But among the Pharisees, for example, there were also secret followers of Jesus like Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea. Various Roman and Jewish persons and institutions, for example, Caiaphas, Judas, the Sanhedrin, Herod, Pontius Pilate, etc., took part in Jesus' trial, and only God knows their guilt as individuals. The idea that all Jews of that time or living today are guilty of Jesus' death is irrational and biblically untenable. St. Francis of Assisi says, and even the demons did not crucify him, but you, together with them, have crucified him and are still crucifying him by delighting in vices and sins. Question number 98. Did God will the death of his only Son? The violent death of Jesus did not come about through tragic external circumstances. Jesus was delivered up according to the definite plan and foreknowledge of God, says Acts of the Apostles 2:23, so that we children of sin and death might have life. The Father in heaven made him to be sin who knew no sin. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 21 says this. The magnitude of the sacrifice that God the Father asked of his Son corresponded to the magnitude of Christ's obedience. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. No, for this purpose I have come to this hour, says John 12:27. On both sides, God's love for man proved itself to the very end on the cross. In order to save us from death, God embarked on a dangerous mission. He introduced a medicine of immortality, says St. Ignatius of Antioch, into our world of death, his Son, Jesus Christ. The Father and the Son were inseparable in this mission, willing and yearning to take the utmost upon themselves out of love for human beings. God willed to make an exchange so as to save us forever. He wanted to give us his eternal life so that we might experience his joy, and wanted to suffer our death, our despair, our abandonment, our death, so as to share with us in everything, so as to love us to the end and beyond. Christ's death is the will of the Father, but not his final word. Since Christ died for us, we can exchange our death for his life. St. Rose of Lima says, apart from the cross, there is no other ladder by which we may get to heaven. Pope Benedict XVI would say, in a certain sense, we can say that the Last Supper itself is the active foundation of the Church, because he gives himself and thus creates a new community, a community united in communion with himself. God bless you all.